The city of Kerman in Iran has been rocked by twin blasts yesterday. People had gathered to commemorate the 4th death anniversary of the late Iranian general Gassem Soleimani. The memorial was being held at the Kerman martyrs cemetery, where the popular Iranian general is buried. 2 bombs were placed in bags and left at the cemetery and detonated remotely. The blasts have left over 100 people dead and over 200 more injured. Government officials from Iran say that the probe is still underway and that people should not give heed to rumors. The MEA has condoled the loss of lives and expressed solidarity with the people and government of Iran in this difficult time. The attack comes at a difficult time, remember, in the Middle East, with the war between Hamas and Israel refusing to subside and Iran widely being held as a key ally for Hamas in the region. With regional stability in the area already on thin ice, what does this mean for the factions involved is the big question. Joining us at this point live is Major General Dhruv Katoj, defense expert. We also have Major General Gigi Dwivedi, defense analyst, joining us live. Major Muhammad Ali Sha, defense expert, also joins the broadcast, as does Group Captain UK Devnath, defense expert. Let me bring you in here first. Major General Katoj, on what you make of these explosions. Who do you believe perhaps was behind it?
Thank you, Uday. I think it's very difficult to determine at this point of time who is behind it. But a large part of the suspicion is devolving on Israel. And I don't think that is going to be the case. When Israel carries out any bombings on targets, it is very, very specific. And generally, they do it to take out the leadership, as they have taken out recently the deputy leader of Hamas. Now, a group bombings of this nature, it is most likely an Islamic State job, though, of course, the truth will come out in due course of time. If 2 bags were placed, obviously it was not a suicide attempt. Somebody placed the bags and then pushed away. But the point is, somebody was carrying those bags and he placed them there. And I don't think any Western agency will take that risk unless they have taken some people from the local region to carry out an attack of this nature. Most likely, it is an internal job. It is from the Islamic State, one possibility. Or it could be from even within Iran. There are enough opposition groups within Iran who are opposed to Ayatollah Khamenei. But it will be difficult to assess as of now who has done this. But the larger point is, I think tensions are going to rise further in the Middle East. I think that is the larger point, and how that is going to play out, we will see in the times to come. Uday.
Yes, let me also, in fact, quickly join Major General Dwivedi into the conversation as well. Major General Dwivedi, what do you make of the modus operandi used and who you believe perhaps was responsible for these explosions?
Well, Uday, first and foremost, I think we need to understand a larger picture as to what's going on in the Middle East or West Asia. Today, this instability that is there, largely, I think, Iran is the architect, because it is supporting the 3 key Shia groups in this region. And this is like Hamas, you have Houthis, and also Hezbollah. So therefore, Iran today is one of the key players in orchestrating the conflict and fueling up the conflict, because the leadership there has a key role, and by this actions, Iran wants to have a leadership role in the Middle East. And the other powers which are having a key role in Middle East are Saudi Arabia, which is Sunni, Egypt, which is again Sunni, and Iran is the Shia. So therefore, when I'm converging on as to who could be responsible for this act, I think most likely these are the Sunni groups or the IS jihadis, because there is a lot of conflict in the leadership, kind of struggle that is on in this region. Second point is that we need to understand that mostly these groups have a lot of inter-rivalries, and Shia-Sunni rivalry is age-old, and same is also, I think, passed on to these fringe groups. So all I can say is that this would be largely the handiwork of either the ISIS or the Sunni groups, the rivalry that is there. But most important point is the timing, because timing is the Soleimani's, the fourth death anniversary when he was taken out by the Americans. And mind you, he was the hero in Iran, and he was heading the Iranian, Revolutionary Guard and the quad group that is there. So my summation would be that this has to be taken, in fact, seriously, because this is going to lead to a lot of violence that is going to follow, because as Khomeini and also President Riasi has said, that this act will be taken revenge of, and therefore I think that we will see some more violence in this region, and these fringe groups or the jihadi groups and the Hamas, Houthis and Hezbollah, they'll be fighting more battle of this kind as far as the terrorist groups are concerned. Uday.
Yes. Okay, let me in fact quickly take that across to Major Shah as well. Major Muhammad Ali Shah, what do you make of the timing of this attack? The date obviously and the venue chosen by those who carried it out as yet. What does this tell us?
Oh, okay, Uday, that's a very, very good question. On again, the date chosen, 2nd January 2020. General Gassem Soleimani was assassinated in Baghdad, in the capital of Iraq, by a US drone strike. And this attack over there, again, it happened right very close to the tomb. Now, this attack, once again, the figure was 103, then it ruled out at 95 because the health department, the emergency services came out with a figure of 95. Then they further shot it down to 84 so far. So now the Supremo, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, he has said the harsh reality is, okay, whoever has done it would be dealt with a very strong, befitting response. In fact, even their president has given out a statement on this. Now, who could have done it? The very fact is, no group has taken a responsibility as of now. No one knows where and how it could have happened. So it would be a bit too early to rule out the attack. But then there's one lesson learned again. Iran always, they shelter Hamas, they shelter the Houthi rebels who are very active in Yemen, in fact. So the very fact, I will give a parallel. Now in Pakistan, you see what's the problem with Pakistan. They are dealing with terror right now. They are themselves victims of terror. Why? Because they are the ones who promoted terror. They gave rise to terror. Osama bin Laden was found in Pakistan. And the very fact is, if you harbor snakes in your backyard, they come back and they bite you, which even Hillary Clinton, she has stood in the parliament and she has mentioned this in Pakistan itself. Now, Iran has, of course, I understand the fact that Iran does not get along with America at all. I totally buy that. The President Ibrahim Riasi is, in fact, the political deputy Mohammad Jamshed. He blamed Israel and the US. The very fact is, without having any proof, Israel and US haven't taken responsibility. Neither do that they have. Neither does Mohammad Jamshed or President Ibrahim Riasi. They have any proof that the Israel or US has done it. How can they, in fact, they blame them only on suspicion? Now the Arab nations, some of them, they can suspect the West. But then you cannot really, without having any proof, you cannot blame anyone. Now the very fact is, when they say they will give a befitting reply to who? It should be ascertained first to who. It is very, very sad. There is no doubt. Wherever there are people who are killed, and on one side where there is Israel and Hamas war going on, and there are over 20,000 casualties of innocent people in the Gaza Strip. What Hamas did on 7th October was grossly wrong, unacceptable, inhuman. There is no doubt, no question about that, and Hamas should be taught a lesson, but specifically till Hamas. Now, when from Lebanon, the Hezbollah joined in the rut, Hezbollah, once again, it is a problem that they are creating. Now, the Islamic State in Iran, because Iran is primarily Shia dominated, right? So now, it could be. I mean, it's just, again, I'm based on speculation. It could be, like as the generals mentioned earlier, yes, it could be an internal, this thing is how I see it as. But the date and the venue chosen, what your question was, it is definitely 100% intentional with a motive that this should drive home a message loud and clear. But again, I don't think Iran is going to keep quiet about it. They will react, but react upon who is the golden question over here. Hezbollah also said that they will avenge or they would revenge. But against who will they revenge and avenge? So that one has to see. Now, also one more thing. The tribal or the insurgent groups over there, they do not have, it's not that they're united. They're not also on the same page. They, like, for example, in Afghanistan, we had heard of ISIS, all right. We suddenly heard that time, about 2.5 years back, we heard about ISIS-K, ISIS Khorasan. So this was a different faction. So they are different factions. Never know which faction from where has gone trigger happy and has done this over there.
Yes. Also, the fact, Group Captain Devnath, is that it was very well planned. With those two bags being kept there, detonated remotely. Obviously, it seems to be very well planned. Perhaps a message being sent out right now. Iran is hesitant to blame anyone. They are saying a probe is underway. People should not pay heed to rumors. But what is your hunch, looking at the way this entire explosion was carried out? Who do you blame? Who do you believe was behind this? And what is the context in which this attack should be read?
Uday, this attack shows that Iran has not been able to fully successfully suppress all the internal rebellion till now. We should not forget that not only IS jihadis are operating from southern part of Iran, but there are Arab separatists also who are floating around in various nooks and corners of Iran. Historically, Arabs came in small groups and settled down in Iran. Before 1979 revolution, when Shah of Iran, Raza Pahlavi, was dethroned, before that, all these Arab minorities and Sunni minorities, they were looked after more or less. America was a great friend of Iran in those days. In fact, Iranian Army, Navy, Air Force was built up by USA only. So internal strife continues. These, as rightly brought out by other panelists, first doubt is on jihadis, IS jihadis. Arab separatists could also do it. We should not forget that Gassem Soleimani was involved in anti-drug operations from 1982 to 1987. In those days, he was a young, bright, brilliant general, brigadier. He was a brigadier in those days, and he was specially tasked by forces in Tehran to neutralize the anti-drug, to lead the anti-drug campaign in southern Iran. So it is quite possible that remnants of those drug cartels are still alive, operating, and they took this opportunity to send some kind of a message or a revenge on him. One more remote chance is that after 1979 Iranian revolution, large number of Iranians who were Western educated or who were professionals, very liberal thinking, they were forced to leave Iran. Most of them went to Europe and America and settled down there. They are doing well. Now, this group has not forgotten their days in Iran, and they are not very kind towards the present regime, Ayatollah Khomeini regime, or presently Ali Khamenei's regime. So this group of Iranian refugees who settled down in Europe and America keep pumping money into Iran for creating some kind of a skirmish or turmoil in Iran. These are 2-3 things. Last thing, Uday, which I want to tell, that it is quite possible that USA and Israel, Mossad, etc. have utilized the last group of people, that is European and American Iranis, refugees who have settled down in Europe and America, to fund the Arab separatists or the drug cartels in Iran to cause this ballasts. Yes, Uday?
Yes. Okay. Let me take that back across to Major Dwivedi. Major Dwivedi, now, at the end of the day, of course, this comes, amidst, as you were telling us, the context earlier, this strife, of course, which we're seeing in the Middle East. It comes, of course, amidst sides being taken in the Israel-Hamas conflict as well. Do you believe that then this is going to cause further strife as well? Should we prepare for further such violence, further such explosions, in countries connected to the Middle East and connected to the conflict that we are seeing?
Well, Uday, I look at West Asia very closely because I teach this subject in the universities, and this is the subject of my doctorate as well.
Yes.
So when I look at this, I think we need to have, 2-3 spectrums. First and foremost, geopolitics, because West Asia today is, I think, vertically divided into 2 camps. One is Iran, Russia, China, Turkey camp. And second, of course, is the Western camp. Now, this is where the 2 lines are very clearly delineated. And axis of evil, so we call, I think today, Iran is leading the so-called axis of evil. Second point is the Israel and Hamas and the larger context of West Asia. You see, there was a development of good relations between, the UAE, the Abraham Accord was signed, and the process of moving forward that West Asia will see stability because Egypt has already accord with Israel, so also, the Jordan. And it was perceived that West Asia will have some stability and at last, Israel will have some peace. But all this was torpedoed with this Hamas attack on 7th October. And once again, West Asia is in turmoil. And third very important point is how these forces are moving within, inter and intra. If you look at the West Asian region within, now there are 3 key players. One is, of course, Saudi Arabia, second is Iran, and third, Egypt. Now there's always a rivalry, and these Egypt and Saudi Arabia being Sunni countries, Arabs, and on the other side is Iran. So I would sort of summarize that geopolitical divide is going to further deepen. Point number 1. Secondly, in today's conflict, the fringe organization, the terrorists, are the lead players supported very actively by the proxies. So therefore, proxy war is going to actually, I would say, escalate. And third important point is the superpowers are going to use this region as a proxy to further their interest. So as I feel that West Asia is going to further slip down in the violence, and it's going to be seeing further instability, and these forces, especially terrorists, are going to play a key role because today the wars are being fought by proxy. This is the era of grey zone warfare, and we are going to see West Asia more in turmoil in time to come. Uday.
Okay, let me take that straight across to Major General Katoch as well. Major General Katoch, do you believe that what are your sources telling you? Have any groups claimed responsibility as yet for this? What are the reports you are getting, Major General Katoch? And also, right now Iran is of course being a bit cagey, saying that a probe is underway. But do you believe that in the next few days there could be aspersions cast by them and also by Hezbollah on the Israelis?
As far as this particular explosion is concerned, let us understand that the targeting has been very specific. It is civilian targeting, right? There is no military target. There is no, except of course for the fact that Soleimani was a general, and they were offering prayers on his funeral day on his 4th death anniversary. But it was only civilians who were actually there, and they were targeted. Now, this doesn't really work out to a pattern, except where they want to create terror within a country. Now, who would like to terrorize Israel in this particular, I beg your pardon, who would like to terrorize Iran in this particular manner? And I don't know, the gut feeling which I get is going to be a religious friction within society. I would rather go for the Sunni conflict within the system, you see. So is it the Sunni groups who have done this in Iran? It's quite possible. And if it is the Sunni groups, then the suspicion will fall on the Islamic State because they have the organizational structure to do it. I think these people who were carrying the bags, I think they were prepared to be suicide bombers. They've got away As per the current situation, it appears they have got away. We don't know. But if they were prepared to be suicide bombers, then very few countries actually work in that fashion. So I would go for the Shia-Sunni conflict. I would go for the fact that the Shia group in Iran, which is vying for supremacy of the Islamic world, has been targeted in the cities now. And my problem, in fact, not my problem, I think the international problem is going to be how Iran reacts to what has happened. Now, if certain bombings start taking place in Saudi Arabia and other places, which are Sunni dominated, then I'm afraid it is going to be very, very bitter on both sides, and it will escalate to the military field and onto the oil. Ultimately, it will escalate to the oil. And that is where the danger to the rest of the world lies. So long as it is confined to them bombing each other in their own cities, it is internal. But if it expands to the energy resources, then it becomes an international problem which will impact all of us. Uday.
Okay, let me take that across to Major Shah once again as well. Major Shah, is this something that you see spiraling as well in the next few weeks and months? The conflict, in Gaza is not looking like stemming anytime soon. Do you then see this, situation in the Middle East spiraling further in the next few weeks? What is the way ahead looking like, in your opinion, Major Shah?
Okay, Uday, that's a very, very good question. See, the Wednesday's attacks, they came straight amidst the heightened tension in the region after the deputy leader of the Iran-backed Palestinian group Hamas was killed in an apparent Israeli drone strike in Lebanon. And I concur with what my seniors have said over here just now, because the suspicion will obviously, unless it's proved, unless it's declared officially, formally, we can only speculate. And so far, if I have to speculate, the suspicion will go to the Islamic State, the Sunni groups, basically, because many of them, in fact, when Gassem Soleimani, he had given a lot of trouble to the Islamic State, the ISIS, particularly in Iraq as well, and they had celebrated his death. Also, they were rejoicing on that. So the suspicion, obviously, and they have, terrorists have, firstly, they do not have those principles like any soldiers would be having. The soldiers will only attack military establishments and such things if they have to bombard a place on a military operation. Here, terrorists have specifically targeted the civilians. So most certainly the suspicion will go over there. Now, also, one more thing to note over here is, do I see the situation spiraling? Well, Uday, to be very, very honest and frank with you, I do not think it could it can get any worse than what it is already now, where Israel and Hamas, actually, Israel should target Hamas even more specifically. It is wherever they are innocent people, their children, their ladies, their elderly people, they are unarmed, well, it's not about unarmed, it's about a person being innocent, nirdosh, bekasur, masoom. So I have a problem with that. When humanity suffers, people who are troublemakers have no right at all to people like terrorists. They have no right, but then innocent people should not suffer in this. And I do not see it spiraling further than this or there.
Yes. Okay, let's go straight across to Group Captain Devnath for a last word, for a closing comment on the way ahead. Where do you see this going?
Uday, way ahead is that word in general and Western powers in specific have to somehow convince Iran to stop supporting their other Houthis, Hamas elements and Hezbollahs. Iran has to be taken on board. Why Iran is angry? Because of US, because of Israel. So Western world has got a very important role to play in sending comfortable message, and making the Iranian regime more calm, more cool, less worried about future offensive operations or offensive actions by Israel and US against Iran. That is the need of the hour. Yes, Uday?
All right. My thanks to all of our guests for joining us on this discussion.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.